What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to the channel. Welcome back to the simulator. Today I've got something a little bit different than my normal videos. I'm trying to bridge the gap between doing content exclusively in the simulator and what I'm doing out on the real golf course, because some weeks, depending on the weekend, I may play more rounds outside than I do in the simulator. It's April 2025. It's getting warmer. I'd rather be outdoors than in the simulator because it's more fun. I'm out in the sun. I'm a poet and I didn't even know it. But yeah, I've been using the Garmin S70 golf GPS watch, which you can see down there in the left bottom left corner. It tracks all sort of statistics. It's not perfect. I think it'd be better if I had the little Arcos shot sensors in the grips of my clubs, but we may or may not eventually get over to that. What you're looking at on the screen over here, let's move this over. What you're looking at is I'm projecting my iPhone to my computer and then capturing that with OBS, obviously. And what we've got here is a round from last weekend at Davis Park Golf Course. This is not a sim round, this is an actual round on an actual golf course. But I am not in a place in my life where I'm willing to take a tripod and a camera out on the golf course and record every shot. I've got some kinks to work out. I got to decide what shot tracking software, ball tracking software I want to use. I got to decide how much of an a-hole I'm going to be on the golf course, slowing my group down by putting a tripod up for every shot, etc., etc., etc. And then obviously that requires a lot of back-end video editing to splice all of those different shots together, because you don't leave the camera running the entire time. Maybe I could find some app that would let me just pause between shots, hit go, hit pause, hit go, hit pause, 95 times around. And I don't think this is going to be too terrible out on off the tee or off the fairway. But when you're trying to set up a tripod on the putting green to record all your stupid putts, that's obviously a much smaller space, and that's going to interfere with other players a lot more. I need to watch more videos where guys and gals record their on-course rounds so I can see how they're doing it. It's a balancing act, obviously. But back to the content. So last weekend I played at a golf course called Davis Park. It's down in Layton, Utah. We've actually got a scramble coming up this month at this course, which is why I've been playing it so much. That day I scored a 95, which is 24 over par, because it's a par 71, 36 on the front, 35 on the back. And that is right about where I'm sitting with my handicap, mid-20s handicap. Some days are better than others. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to go through this round shot by shot. It's not going to be as slow and treacherous as you think. But the Garmin Golf app does a really neat thing where it shows your shots on a cartoony GPS version of the course, and it's really cool. So let's get into that. First hole here, you can see I teed off with my 2 wood, which is what I'm calling my mini driver. There's no option in the app to call out a mini driver. So I'm calling it a 2 wood. I thought it was pretty clever. On this hole, I hit a 257-yard drive with my mini driver, not bad. It went over to the right of the fairway, and then I was able to lob wedge one into the green and then 2 putt out. Not a bad hole, not a bad way to start the round. This is one of the better ones. On the second hole, it was a little par 3. I smacked a 9-iron over, I pulled it over to the left, and then I lob wedged in, and then unfortunately had 3 putts. Sometimes it just goes that way. It would be nicer if it didn't happen that often on par 3s, but is what it is. This hole was unfortunately pretty stinking regrettable. I hit my mini driver not too terribly far. I had to use my lob wedge to get out from behind that tree. I was pretty far out at that point, and I grabbed my 3-wood, hoping I could get it down the fairway. It sliced over to the right. I grabbed my sand wedge, trying to poke one onto the green, but it didn't go where I wanted it to. It landed over there, right below the green here, and then I was able to use my lob wedge to get onto the green for, fortunately, close enough for a 2-putt. Not a great hole there. The 4th hole was my only birdie of the day. Had a nice little, I wouldn't say I had a 228-yard drive with my 6-iron. Let's go ahead and edit that shot now. Edit shot location. I'm pretty sure it was maybe up on this tee box. Maybe this tee box. Done. 193 with a 6-iron is still pretty far. Let's go back up here. So I whacked it over to the dog leg, and then I whacked it. I grabbed my sand wedge. Maybe it was a gap. No, it was downhill, so it was a sand wedge. And then I was fortunate enough to be within range of 1 putt to this pin here. Pretty good hole. Like I said, though, that was the last birdie I had that day. And then this hole, this hole didn't go well, unfortunately. I went way off. I sliced it way off to the right with my mini driver, and then I wasn't in a position to hit toward the pin. I unfortunately had to take, I'm not sure what I grabbed. Maybe it was a pitching wedge or something. I think it was a pitching wedge. Let's add that in now. Pitching wedge, there you go, done. I really thought I edited all of these. But you can see this hole went not great. I was all over the place, zigzagging around, and then to add injury to insult to injury, I had a 3-putted onto the green. I've certainly done much better on this hole on previous rounds, but that day wasn't great. All right, here we got 172 yards off the tee on the 6th hole with the mini driver. Sliced it over to the right, and then I had to use my lob wedge to get over these trees, but I didn't quite get back on the fairway. I grabbed probably not a sand wedge there. That was probably more a gap wedge. Let's go ahead and edit that now. I grabbed my gap wedge and tried to get it onto the green, but I was short. Then I hit a little 32-yarder over to the pin was on the back, and unfortunately had 3 putts on that nasty one too. Next hole I think is a little par 3. Went really well for me. I hit a 7-iron up right below the hole here, and then I grabbed the lob wedge, popped it up, and was able to 2-putt in. Not much going on there. Then we drove up the hill to hit tee off on the 8th. Looks like we had a 216-yard drive with the mini driver, and then I hit my 3 wood over. It didn't go very well. Here I grabbed my sand wedge and I got it over to the edge of this green where I was able to putt off the skirt and then 2-putt into the hole. I wasn't able to get it that putt off the edge of the green close enough for a 1-putt, unfortunately. 9th hole. You see we have a slicey poke with the mini driver. And then I had a miss hit with my 5-iron, unfortunately. And then I was able to take my gap wedge over here from the right side of the green after the miss hit with the 5-iron, close enough to the pin to 2-putt. Starting off the back 9, wasn't too bad at all. Nice little 255-yard drive with the mini driver. And then I topped my 6-iron and just sent it kind of skittering down the fairway. I was, 80, 90 yards out, so I snagged my sand wedge, and then I was able to poke it right up to the front of the green here. I 2-putted in. I think it was on the skirt of the green, and then I got it close enough to the hole to putt it in. Good hole. This hole's been kicking my butt on Davis Park a lot. I don't know what it is. You're not safe on the right or the left, so naturally I hit to the right because you don't take a penalty on the right. There's actually a little river on the left here. But I poked it up the hill near the tee box for the next hole, and then I lob wedged it down into the sand like a dummy. And then I was able to get out of the sand, and then the green had a lot of undulation on it, so I unfortunately 3-putt on that guy. Hole number 12 here had a really good drive with the mini driver, almost 275 yards. Didn't quite make it on the fairway. Grabbed my pitching wedge, which wasn't enough club, unfortunately, even though we were going downhill. Was short, and then I poked it onto the green with a lob wedge and was able to 2-putt. "13 here, I believe, is the last par 5. It gets a little bit messy up here with the overlying text. But had an amazing drive, 275 with the mini driver, and then I was quite a ways out, so I grabbed my 4-iron, bashed it clear over past the tee box for the next hole, and then I used my gap wedge to get over this tree, almost got on the green, and was able to get it close enough off the skirt of the green with a putt to putt it in. I am having a lot of trouble with my long irons. Not necessarily in the simulator because I think I'm letting something get in my head, but on the actual golf course I'm towing a lot of my long irons. I'm having problems with having the face close, stuff like that. It's definitely different than the rhythm you get in the simulator. All right, 14 was a little par 3. Grabbed the 6-iron, kind of pushed it over to the right there, and then I was able to hit the lob wedge over to the left side of the green, not quite on the green, and then I unfortunately didn't give it enough coming out of the rough on the side of the green there, and didn't get it close enough for a 1-putt, and ended up taking 2 more putts. It's pretty unfortunate, but I think putting off the edge of the green, especially for beginner golfers, is a lot higher percentage shot than trying to get a wedge underneath something, especially if you just don't have that shot in your bag. Hole 15 was great. 265 off the tee with the mini driver. And then you could see I grabbed my pitching wedge and I wanted to get into the green, but I thicked the shot. Took the lob wedge in close enough to the pin for 2 putts. Pretty stock. It would have been nice to get on the green with the pitching wedge, but it didn't pan out. 16th hole, really good shot with the 8-iron there. Landed it right underneath the pin and then 2-putted in. Not much to say about this. Good hole, really good hole. This was kind of a weird one. My partner and I both sliced our golf balls over into this area, which is water on this map, but it's actually just, it's eventually going to have water in it. It just doesn't now. I pulled my gap wedge out. I didn't want to go down to a pitching wedge because I had to get like out of some like long grass and some crap over here. Ended up hitting it completely the wrong way over here to the left. I grabbed my lob wedge and still wasn't able to get it onto the green, right? I was just zigzagging around the fairway, right? Zigging, zagging, zigging. And then eventually from 23 out, I grabbed my lob wedge and got it close enough for 2 putts. Not a great hole, but I was able to not take the penalty there out of that area. And then 18, over this water, and there's a little bridge over here. Pushed it over to the right, 222-yard drive with the mini driver, pushed it over to the right. And then I didn't want to hit into a bunker because it's just really tight in that area, so I laid it up in front of the green, and then with the same club in hand, I popped it up onto the green, and I had a downhill putt that I was able to keep good pace on, and I didn't push it past the hole. Got to within a couple of feet of the hole and dropped it in with another putt. And right, that's Davis Park Golf Course from the 6th of April 2025. Again, I shot a 95, which is 24 over par because this is a par 71. And that's right in line with my current handicap. Handicap is currently on the downtrend, fortunately, and we'll see that in a couple of subsequent videos. I hope to get firmly in the low 90s before the end of the season, but I know getting better at golf is not necessarily a linear thing. It goes all over the place. Sometimes you take 2 steps back, 3 steps back. Sometimes you're back to where you're hitting triple digits. But eventually, in the aggregate, over time, on average, you want your handicap to slowly drop. That's all I got. We'll be doing a few more of these videos today to get caught up. I appreciate you guys watching, and we'll see you in the next video.